Welcome to the video that describes the Healy Troubleshooting Checklist and the tips we're going to go over first apply to both the Pink Dot app, which is the basic Healy app that anyone that has the Healy Gold, the Healy Holistic Health, or the Plus, all including the Resonance, have the Pink Dot app, and that does individual programs with microcurrent. The Blue Dot app is only for people who purchased the Healy Resonance top of the line that does the Analyze functions. So we're going to cover general things, then Pink Dot, then Blue Dot. And don't try to memorize this. You have the checklist in writing. It's www.healytroubleshooting.com. You'll see in the footer below. First and foremost, you really need to start by reading the FAQ, frequently asked questions, from your back office when you log in at partner.healyworld.net. We have a version that's fairly current out on the link that you see here. To help another person and watch what they're doing, you could either use Zoom, but I prefer TeamViewer, and there's documentation about what you would do if you were using TeamViewer at the link that you see here. Use Healy until the battery fully discharges and then fully charge it. And when you first get it from the company, you plug it in and let it charge as long as it needs to until that light goes out. And it's okay to do that overnight. Once a week, mark your phone that you need to check for updates in the Pink Dot app to apply them, and you should be restarting your telephone that you're running Healy on at least once a week, preferably at least 3 times a week, and I do it every day. If you have a last resort when you're going through the steps we're going to be covering, if you absolutely feel like you've tried everything, you can always try a different phone and network. And that was an issue with one person. Their phone and their network was preventing security-wise to get to it. And you can always ask your up team to help before you submit the ticket. There's other helpful links in the footer, and if the clip, by the way, on the back of your Healy is broken and not damaged at the corners, you can submit a ticket for getting a new one as part of your warranty. Be clear that the Pink Dot app that's usable by all 4 Healy editions does use microcurrent when the wires are connected, and it always uses what I think of as resonant frequencies into the information field. The Blue Dot doesn't use microcurrent at all, but it can help you decide which Pink Dot apps you want to run with the microcurrent. The Blue Dot actually can analyze you physically and emotionally, offer vibrate sessions across your top priority 5 categories, and then you can drill down within one of those or more top categories to see which programs are really applicable, and you can take vibrate sessions across just that category or across all the categories, and it has the capability intended for practitioners for remote sessions. At the time of this recording, there will be coming out soon a Healy coil, a little backing on the back of the Healy, and it plugs into those 2 little holes where the wires normally go. So we're looking forward to trying to do Healy sessions with microcurrent without having to use the wires and the wrist straps or adhesive connectors. Now we're going to cover the Pink Dot troubleshooting, and this means if a person has any one of the first 3 Healy editions, and by the way, you can look at www.healyeditions.com to see what the features are in those. Now we know their problem, if they're having one, is absolutely associated with trying to use the Pink Dot because they don't have access to the Blue Dot, only the Healy Resonance people. So this one's simpler. Let's assume a worst case scenario. Assume the Healy is charged and that we're really at a last ditch. They've tried what they can. First, you want to confirm that the Blue Dot app is closed. If it's closed, now you would be able to open the Pink Dot app. And this is a standard way of how Androids and Apples close apps. So you could ask anyone if you don't know how to do that. Uninstall the Pink Dot app as a worst case situation. Let's just take it off in your app store and then restart the phone, because a lot of things can get clogged up in memory, and that should also reset the Bluetooth, and then put the Pink Dot app back on. So reinstall it saying allow to the camera and other things. Then before you open the Pink Dot app, turn the Healy on and you will see a flashing light, and we're going to see a note to that later. Open the Pink Dot app, and if it says you're not activated, see item 13 when we talk about the right-hand side of this picture. In the settings, now how do you get to the settings? In the top left corner, there's 3 vertical bars. Some people call it a hamburger. You click on that, it's the menu for the Pink Dot, and you scroll to the bottom and choose Settings, and then almost halfway down, click Check for Updates and Apply, and you'll do that at least once a week. And this is how it brings in all your programs that you have paid for and are entitled to use. So you always do that when you're having some type of issues. Confirm that all the programs you paid for are there. So if you paid for Healy Resonance, we want to see things like the job and the learning and the protection, etc. So if we're still unresolved after doing those things and you're watching the other person do this or you're doing it yourself, then do a hard reset where you hold the center button, the on-off button of the Healy down firmly for 20 seconds, and then you go back to number 1 and start over with your troubleshooting once you've done a hard reset. We have been told that there's not an infinite number of hard resets you can do on a Healy, so don't get carried away with doing it too often. Now let's move to the blue dot troubleshooting for people with the Healy Resonance, and let's assume a worst case scenario. Make sure the Healy is charged and the phone is charged. And now, if you only want to add a second device, we're going to see how to do that later on in step 14. You might as well, if you feel like things are really in a difficult situation, you could do a hard reset like we described on the Pink Dot, holding the Healy button in the center down for 20 seconds, and then the light will come on to say, I'm done. Confirm that the Blue Dot app is absolutely closed, and that's standard closing on the Android and Apple. Open the Pink Dot, because see, you can't have these open at the same time. Go check for updates, because if you're troubleshooting just a blue dot problem, make sure your cell phone is up to date and the Pink Dot is up to date with your permissions and any updates they've made to the software. So always close the blue dot before you open the pink, and vice versa, and confirm all the programs that you paid for are there. Uninstall the Blue Dot app. So let's get a fresh new start here. We've already restarted your phone, ideally, before this occurs. Uninstall the Blue Dot, which is called Healy Analyse on the Apples. Confirm that the Healy device is powered off before we're going to do the restart of the phone now, and that'll also restart the Bluetooth. And location has to be turned on when you're running the Blue Dot app. And location is turned on so that we can have very, very low electromagnetic field, not to hurt human beings. And you do have to keep your phone relatively close to the cell phone that you're working with. So this is the steps. Follow the steps here. Install the Blue Dot app again, and then turn on the Healy before you open the Blue Dot app. So always turn on the Healy before you open them. And the green light doesn't have to always be flashing. But if you turn on your Healy and it goes 3 quick flashes and shuts off, that means it's out of a charge. So you can't go further with this until it's charged. And charge it fully each and every time you do it, but don't overdo charging. Open the Blue Dot app now, since your Healy's turned on. And if you have trouble connecting, turn Bluetooth off and on in the settings of your phone. You're going to log into the Blue Dot app with your email address and password that is on file with the Healy database. And if you're not activated, is the message that you're getting, you're going to log in, maybe on your laptop or desktop, to the back office. You're going to get the order number from My Shop, and under that there's orders, and it'll give you an order number. Write that down and use that along with the serial number on the back of your device. In the back office, you're going to say, activate my device, and it's under my Healy device. You're going to activate with option B, and if that didn't work, you also have the option of activating with option A, where you can use the order number that came on the paper that showed up in your box at your door. But we almost never use that approach. Now to the master key topic. When you're first opening the blue dot, you hopefully saved the master key. So now when you're having a challenge, if you knew where you put it, like maybe you saved it to a Google Drive or OneDrive, or maybe you saved it on files and downloads in your phone, you can import it by pointing at it. So it'll let you say, show me where it is. And it's a file that obviously is the master key. You never open it or change the name. It ends with .json. And if your device is not the master device, the one that first started with Healy, that's the one in charge, then you can ask if you're trying to add a second device. Some people try to add a tablet, even though at the moment, tablets I don't believe are officially approved by the company, but they usually work great, especially a certain one of them. The Samsung Tab A is reportedly great for this and inexpensive. You can actually go into your settings and click on request permission from the master device. You can stay logged in as the second device, and then it's waiting for permission. You can go to your original device. The master might be your phone, and the tablet might be the new one you're trying to add. And the master device at the same time can log into the Blue Dot app, go to settings with the gear on the bottom right corner, click on cloud settings, and then go to connected devices. And you'll see, here's my tablet. There's a green circle for a check mark to approve, or a red minus. I don't know who that is. So you click that, then you can close the app on the master device and you're up and running on the tablet. So that's a nice, easy way to do it. If neither one, if you're really kind of stuck and you're having difficulty with getting things going with a master key, here's another option called Reset Cloud Account. This would cause you to lose clients and list, but the key on the Reset Cloud Account is that you need a device that this Healy has never used before. So let's say you have someone else in the household or an extra device. You don't need to use phones with telephone service because they can still do Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. You find a device it's never used. You try to load it up with the correct email and password that's on file. And when it comes to master key, because it's a new device, then they will have the option of, hey, do you want to import the master key, or do you want to ask the master device for permission, or do you want to reset the cloud account and start from scratch, wiping out your clients and list? And when it does that, when they say yes in this, let's say your family member's phone, now it's the master device and everything's wiped clean regarding the data that has been stored, and it's only temporary for maybe a few minutes because you're going to switch back later. Now that we've got the Reset Cloud account done by your family member's phone, it's the boss. That makes the original master device, and even a tablet, if you had one of those using the system, those now are strangers. So now you can go to the master device of your choice, such as your phone, and you can do the same thing as a stranger. Load up the Blue Dot and say, yes, I want to reset the cloud account and zero out the clients and lists, and I want to be the boss. Now they're the boss, and we're all set. They could add a tablet if they wanted. They could wipe out the family member's phone. Is no longer a part of the whole situation, and it could actually uninstall the Healys and thank you for your few minutes of help. I don't need you anymore. When you get to the sync data, once you're into the Blue Dot data, you have to wait and let it sync to the cloud. And depending on how fast your Wi-Fi is, it could be really quick or it could be 20-30 minutes. It's really good if you have a high-powered Wi-Fi. Let it sync, and you can see below, if you go to the settings in the Blue Dot app, which is the gear on the bottom right, then you click on Cloud Settings, and then scroll all the way down. You'll see that a sync is in process and it's only 35% done. Let it finish. Don't, and this can happen later after the first time, don't try to keep using the Blue Dot while that's in progress, expecting things you did a minute ago to show up, because you'll think it isn't working. Watch for the sync data to finish there before you start using it. Don't interrupt it. Very importantly, go to the settings, just where we talked about, the little gear on the bottom right, cloud settings, back up master key and save it again. If you haven't done it in the beginning, back up the master key in multiple places, such as Google Drive, OneDrive, files, downloads on your own cell phone. Definitely send an email to yourself so you can back it up 2 or 3 times to different places. Definitely watch www.healydemovideo.com, and I ran the watching what I was doing when I ran the pink dot app and the blue dot app and drilling down to help figure out exactly which programs, not just which categories, are really priorities for me. And this one might be something I really should run the pink dot app later in the day or tomorrow to get microcurrent. Definitely, you would then proceed to use it, setting up a client and doing your analyses. That concludes the checklist itself, and this is something any person can do regardless of whether or not they've introduced Healy to anyone else. So this is a checklist, and there are hours of videos at www.mydevicehelp.com set up by another team. You'll see that in the footer of this. And note that I created installation video and checklist at the bottom right of the footer on this page. So those are helpful tools. Now we're going to talk about people who do help other people. So anyone wanting to earn income from Healy, really, I believe, should really help their team with troubleshooting. They should learn to help even if they're not naturally techie and really help them get along. And it would be great to send them a welcome email, and there's a sample of what we use in our team. And this is Frequency Power Team, by the way. And that includes the install video and checklist and the demo video that walks you through how to use them together. If you sell a Healy to someone and they've done the above, we recommend scheduling a session to answer all their questions and watch them operate the device while you watch with either TeamViewer or Zoom, and you'll see more about that later. People wanting to help others should do all the things in the top left of the page we've already covered where it says read this first. They should read all the FAQ, the frequently asked questions from the company. They should really do their homework and be good at this so that they can help other people. And when your team member requests you to help them, and keep in mind, there's usually a really good up-team member that could help you if you need to be helped, but they can't carry the load of everyone in their team, so you need to step up and try to help your team that you've introduced and expect your leaders to do the same. So ask for a simple statement of their challenge. So what's your problem? And you might have a quick answer. It works, you're done. If it's still a challenge, ask them to go through that checklist that we just saw on the previous page with that link. And if it's still an issue, then write it for you clearly what is remaining as an issue. If you have an answer and it works, great, you're done. If it's still a challenge, set an appointment, ask them to install TeamViewer Quick Support, which is free. They just go to their app store and install it, and restart their phone before your meeting at 2 o'clock tomorrow and confirm that Bluetooth is on, and if they're working with the Blue Dot app, that location is turned on as well. Now, here we are, 2 o'clock tomorrow. It's the appointment, and there's the little link that teaches how we would do this with TeamViewer. A reason I really like TeamViewer also is because if you were doing TeamViewer remote control to help your team member or your new customer, you could actually, with TeamViewer remote control, again free, you could actually not only watch what they're doing, but if you're running it from your cell phone, you could be touching the buttons and maneuvering around for them, kind of taking over for them, which is pretty exciting. And we use the concept in reverse when we do remote sessions. But when you go to these links that are bit.ly, you have to do whatever upper lowercase. So you see this one's all lowercase. So don't let that trip you up, and there's no www. If in the case people say, I really can't do TeamViewer, there's some security on my system I can't avoid, then use Zoom if you're comfortable with that. That one will require them to install it on their phone and get an account for free, but it's quicker with TeamViewer. That's not necessary with that. Make sure they did their preparation that you asked them to in the item above, like restarting their phone right before the meeting. If they don't, you can tell them, restart the phone now, please, and call me back. And then you open the TeamViewer remote control, which is free, ideally on your phone, just before the call, and ask them to open TeamViewer Quick Support right before the call and tell you the 9-digit number. They're not going to press send my number. They're going to tell you the number. You're going to key it in on your end, and then you hit connect request, ask them to allow you to watch them, and punch the button for starting their screen broadcast, and they'll be getting a red circle kind of pulsing to start the session. And ask them to show you their home screen. Everybody knows how to get to their home screen on their phones where all their icons are. And then you say, yes, I can see you. Watch them create the problem. So you're watching them show you what's wrong and guide them through the whole process. Now, if the device is not activated, go to a desktop or laptop rather than try to do it on your phone is preferable. You got to go in their back office and go to My Shop and Orders, and you get the order number there, like 602123. And then they tell you the serial number on the back bottom of the Healy they're holding, which will always begin so far with 010101. And then you should jot it down yourself as well in case you have to write a ticket for them. That's called option B. If that doesn't work, another attempt could be made with option A, which is the piece of paper that came in their box with the Healy, the invoice number on there, and you could use that with the serial number and see if that will work. That's another attempt to get it activated yourself. And if none of those work and you can't get it activated, or any other issue, you can't resolve anything, a support ticket is needed in their back office. We cannot submit them through email, but word it carefully and concisely for the new person. If you're the one in the know, you wording it is a whole lot better than them wording it and feeling frustrated because they're having a challenge. Submit it for them with their permission. Email them a copy of the wording that you used and ask them to forward any email responses they get from the company so you know what's happening. If they give you permission to use their password, you could go in their back office later in the day or tomorrow morning and check and see if there was a reply, and maybe it went to their spam folder. So keep an eye on it daily to get action, get it done, and ensure that all is well with the new person. One more page. Again, for helpers, less common issues you should be aware of, and we can add to this as we go on. At the time of recording, there has been a problem with white or blank screens appearing in the blue dot. Well, the occasional problem will eventually go away. We won't have this problem in the future when they resolve all their software changes that they're working on. But for now, it's sitting in here, and some people are saying, well, temporarily just turn off your sync in your settings. Syncing to the cloud, the automatic syncs. And just do it once in a while yourself manually in the same settings. But we can always do that clear master account that we described earlier, where you take another phone. This is resolved each time I've encountered that problem. The problem goes away. But don't forget, when you introduce a phone that your Healy never knew, and it is offered the option of clear master account, the clients and lists are going to be wiped out. The couple of people that had to do that so far, they didn't mind that at all because they can always add the client again later. So now your main phone can do the same thing, just like we said before, and it can become the master device like we wanted it to be. What if you're trying to add a second cellular device, a phone or tablet? You can't find the master key to import it. Well, one easy option is the thing we talked about earlier. Ask for permission from the master device. Stay logged in on the second device like a tablet. Log in to the blue dot from the master device like your phone. So you're both logged in there at the same time, believe it or not. And go to settings, the gear at the bottom right, choose the cloud settings, and then something called connected devices. Who is asking for permission? And you'll have a green circle with a check mark saying, yep, I approve, I know them, that's my tablet. Or a minus red to say, no, that's a stranger, I don't want to do that. So then you close the master device, and now the secondary device like the tablet is up and running beautifully, no problem. What if you accidentally didn't save the master key when you were installing the Blue Dot app? You just blew right by that. It said to save it and you didn't. Well, after the sync is over, because it's going to sync, remember, for a while, sync into the cloud. Then you go to settings, again, the gear at the bottom right. This is blue dot, and you go to cloud settings. There's something called backup master key. Save it in an email to yourself, like we said earlier, a shared drive like Google Drive or OneDrive, and also put it on your phone under whatever folder you want, but you could always put it under downloads. What if you had a replacement Healy? There was one of the rare ones that had something that wouldn't allow it to work. You sent it back to the company, they sent you a new one, and the login fails because of serial number. Well, obviously, the serial number of the second device they sent you, the only one that you're going to be able to use, is not matching. Well, you have to submit a ticket for that and explain it clearly. Mark it urgent, saying that please assign the correct serial number of my replacement Healy, and reiterate it, even though you put it in when you first started the ticket, to my account, because I'm getting a serial number mismatch error message. So definitely that will be the thing to do to resolve that. Don't get frustrated on that one. I'm not going to go through this, but these little batteries in the Healy, you can mess them up if you go crazy overcharging, if you didn't fully charge it when you got it. So this is a way that some of the super techs say that you can resynchronize on the algorithm and get it back in sync. So this will be part of this document, which is at the bottom, HealyTroubleshooting.com. Some people on the computer, nothing to do with the apps, they say, I can't log in, I never changed my username, email, or password. Well, believe it or not, the way the software is at the time of recording, try another browser, it might work. If needed, restart the computer also. Make sure your phone's up to date always, but this issue will likely not be a problem in the future, so we always could say, hey, I forgot, I don't know my password, so that's an option as well. Make sure you're logging into the right place. As we speak, you need to log into, don't put www, partner.healyworld.net, log in there with your username and password instead of logging in on the production customer website of www.healyworld.net, because it isn't currently going to get you the same results if you're purchasing over there or if you're trying to log in over there. So at the moment, and we will revise this document as things change. So that concludes the troubleshooting checklist. If you have suggestions to enhance or clarity questions, please get back with us. My name is Julie. Thank you so much.